Hey guys, it's me, James, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Today is not only the first time I'm going to review a television show today. I will be doing the first part of which I will review a different animated show's season by season, and I will be starting off with King of the Hill. I will review every season of King of the Hill individually, and then I will do a review of the series as a whole, and then I will move on to a different animated series. So let's get started. So today I'll be reviewing the first season of King of the Hill. King of the Hill premiered in 1997 and was created by Beavis and Butthead creator Mike Judge. The series follows Hank Hill, an average Southern man who lives in the fictional town of Arlen, Texas. He sells propane and propane accessories and is very proud of it. He can be very conservative at times, and he can even come off as closed-minded. He has very old-fashioned moral values. He can sometimes be overbearing, and sometimes even a little bit unemotional and a little cruel at times. However, he is a good man with a good heart who only wants to do what's best for him and his family, and the show is centered around him and the misadventures he and the people around him get into. The show seems to have a love for small southern towns and its people. It seems to love everything about them while not shying away from their very clear faults, however. This all makes sense seeing as how Mike Judge is from a small southern town, and Arlen is heavily inspired by it, which is good because I say the show's largest strength is in its realism. The show is far more grounded than, let's say, shows of familiar format like Family Guy and The Simpsons. This takes place in a world that seems like it could exist, and the characters feel real and lifelike more for the most part, and the situations are only unbelievable in the sense that it happens to the same people over and over again, not in the sense that they could never happen. All the characters are interesting, and almost all of them have episodes dedicated to them. Almost every character has an arc at some point during the series. However, we will get to that when I review later seasons. Right now, let's concentrate on the first one. The first season of King of the Hill, like most series, is a little iffy, and it's not spectacular when compared to the rest of the series, because like most shows, it hasn't figured out what it wants to be yet. That does not mean, however, the show does not have its glimpses of what will become in later season. This is all build-up for what is to come. It is getting used to Hank Hill's world and the characters in it, and what I find brilliant is how the show suddenly build us into subplots and that will be more important later, like the fact that Bill's wife has left him and that Dale's is cheating on him, that Luann has a difficult home life and is living with the Hills, and that Hank has a narrow urethra. Clearly, most of these subplots were meant to become more important later, and we can see how they progress as the show goes on. Also, for a first season, it gives us a good feel of the world, and in only one episode, we already get attached to the characters and understand that this will be a show of a man with old-fashioned values battling a world that doesn't care about him, and is so caught up in bureaucracy and politics. It does this so well in only a 12-episode, 20-minute, and sometimes less length episodes. What is amazing is seeing how almost all of the other seasons have at least 15 to 20 episodes. The only other season that has 12 episodes is season 11. However, this does not mean that the first season is perfect. It still struggles to find its own identity as a series. Animation-wise, it is tonally, and it very much resembles Beavis and Butthead. It is the same kind of animation style as that show, and the jokes feel a lot like that, and make sense seeing as how the show is a spiritual successor to that show, but it is distracting at times, and the animation while it may work for Beavis and Butthead, it really does feels out of place in this series. It does not fit the tone that the situations give, and it can be really fucking distracting. Also, this season more than the others I have found so far is probably the most boring. Yes, this show is set in a realistic universe, but that doesn't mean it has to be slow and boring at times. As someone who has seen most of the series, I could say I don't mind it as much but for someone just getting into the show, there might be more than hard to sit through at times. There are many good episodes in the season, however, like my personal favorite of the season, which is the Anthill one. which is a really, really good episode, which also showcases my favorite character, Joe Gribble. So despite his faults, I will give King of the Hill Season 1 a 7 out of 10. And I really would recommend watching it and watching the rest of the series, which I will review as a later.